Hello, and my name is Peter Rushmer, and I'm your host today of a Half Dozen Things podcast. A Half Dozen Things is a podcast for business owners and professionals just like you. Whether you're an underdog hungry for success or you're already smashing it but want to continue to level up, we're here each week for you to get insight and learning from the very best in the business. No fluff, no BS, and no self-proclaimed gurus talking about how easy business or life is. Just real, frank, and raw conversations. Hi, I'm joined today by Ben Aveling. He's joining me for a second time on the podcast because, do you know what? We had a right laugh first time round. And we've both known each other since we were still in short trousers at primary school. So yeah, he's a top geezer. I hope you enjoyed today's session. We talk particularly around sustainability and sustainability in business too. Absolutely fantastic episode, and I really hope you enjoy it. So the red light is rolling, and I'm joined today by Ben Aveling from Radmore Farm. Ben, how are we doing, man?
Hello. Very nice to be. We don't do this enough, but very nice to be back.
Yeah,
all
awesome,
those that
mate.
saw me last time, we're back.
Yeah, so good. I invited him a second time. So Ben is back. Ben is back on the show. I really appreciate him joining me tonight. We're recording on Easter Monday, and Ben and I haven't had a catch up for a while, so we're like, do you know what? Let's make it into a podcast. Let's have a bit of a laugh and leave it largely unscripted, because, to be honest, that's probably the best way to get Ben, isn't it? Is largely unscripted and unpolitically correct as possible, basically. So obviously we may have to get some stuff edited out. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I've got a twat outside with their fridge fan literally going off. I don't know if you can hear it.
Why fridge fan?
Wearing away. Well, it's fridge trailer even. Their fridge trailer's just going.
Well, they're like an Undertaker's or something.
I don't know.
Chill out, man.
To be fair, these days they could have all sorts in the back of that truck, mate. There could be all sorts in there.
Licorice ones.
Yeah, literally licorice, all sorts. Mate, right, okay, cool. So Ben and I totally unscripted. Where's this going to go? So those that heard the first episode where Ben and I chatted, you will realise that Ben and I have known each other for, well, how long, mate? What's your first memory? That's a good question, actually. What's your first memory of me?
You don't want to know, really. I don't know. I tell you what, I reckon it was. I'm trying to think. I reckon we played. I think playing football in the park, probably.
Okay. Possibly.
I think we had a Manchester United football.
Quite, yeah, very, very likely. Very likely if it was me, mate. I remember being in a queue with you and Richard Ward in reception. That's how far back. Right. And I can remember you two arguing and me trying to bang your heads together, because that's what my mum said when we argued. Still doing that.
And you turned out fine, together. Good advice.
I know, right? I remember thinking you were quite naughty. I remember thinking that Ben's quite naughty.
I didn't put up with any shit. I mean, I've never put up with stuff. Like, when I was wrong, I was happy to be wrong, but I hate an injustice, and like, I don't know, I like to do whatever I want. That's why you're in business, isn't it? Like, I naturally gear toward doing whatever I want, and that sounds a bit stupid. That's not really what I mean by that, but I'd rather work 10 times as hard for myself than work half as hard for someone else. It's sort of always been the same, even through school. I thought, well, if I can mess around and still get the same grades, then why the hell work the same? To me, it's a no-brainer, because I've always just been about messing around and having fun, really.
Yeah, mate. No,
simple as that.
Well, we know this, right? But yeah, so it gives people an idea of how far we go back, and then we worked together for a long time, didn't we? When we were in the pub trade working for Green King, we were both running the Green King, the Green Dragon. Get my words out. The Green Dragon.
He was a bastard, weren't he? That Green. What a green sod.
Yeah, the Green Dragon in Chesterton, which at the time was probably the best. Well, probably the best. It was the best real ale pub in Cambridge.
It was good, wasn't
it, mate? Yeah,
underrated actually. I think anyone who didn't know the place didn't know actually quite how much effort was put into that. I don't think it was a very decent place to work. I learned a lot there. Hell of a lot. I still think about it now.
Pre-brew dog. Literally, you had your choice: IPA, Abbott Ale, or whatever the guest beer was.
Usually Green King, or hidden as a Ruddles, which was still Green King.
Yeah. We'd occasionally get a bit of London Pride or something like that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would.
But yeah, and then obviously we went and did our own thing, sort of in our mid-20s, didn't we? So and since then you've been married to Vicky, and you've been doing the farm shop and various other business interests as well, right?
Yeah. Well, I started when I was 21. That's the first time I was 21 and 2 days when we opened the shop. So that's how long ago it was.
Literally like 30 years ago.
Yeah. That's
At least I laugh at my jokes.
It's all right, mate. I feel like I don't want to give you too much credit. That's what I'm here for, isn't it? You know. But I mean, I can't really believe. Yeah. So 2000. What's that? 50. Yeah, it'll be 15 years this year.
That's nuts, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, and it's been the constant. I've done a lot around it.
Yeah.
So we had the pub, which we still do, but I don't run it, and as well as we've moved shop locations a few times, haven't we? And we've had numerous other things. It's always been the constant, the thing that I've done and stuck to, and like I've always naturally veered away from doing the same thing every day, which I despise. I don't like doing the same things every day. So the shop business was my way of trying to be sensible and grown up. And on the side of it, once I managed to establish it, I can play with my other ideas of do something different every day, and the shop stays the same and constant, you know, because you can't have everything. You can't be a kid forever.
I must say, I always look forward to our chats because you are quite entrepreneurial, aren't you? So you will often have ideas and then sort of have a bit of the shop will still be going, but you'll be trying different stuff. And one of the things specifically that I wanted to explore a bit more with you on this session, which we didn't really in our first episode, was around the like environmental impact that you started to look at, or the ecological impact of the shop, and then starting to really sort of focus your business on that is something that I'm looking to explore with Flagship. And I thought, why not learn live, so to speak, on the podcast about what you did, how you did it, and why you did it, and what the outcomes have been.
All right. Well, it's largely driven by our customers. I mean, a lot of what we would get asked for would be in the vein of sustainability. And we also won, actually, I sort of backtrack slightly. We won an award, the Cambridge Sustainable Food Award, just not necessarily by attempting to, we never really even entered it. It was like they came round to our shop and said, you do realise what you sell means you're eligible for this award because of the quality and the locality and the sustainability and the ethics and everything we proved. And I was like, oh, right, okay, great. And I got on board quite a lot with them. I mean, I still keep my hand in with them, but I always say I'm too busy doing it to be, to turn up to the meetings and stuff. And that's not a lie, it's true. And I mean, we wanted to do different things, but I always like to do it in a different way, because I think some people have a bad idea of, like, how do I put it? If I said, I'm going to go sustainable as a business, people are straight away going to think, is Ben going to turn into an even bigger dick? Okay, because
and this right there is one of my challenges. Right, we work in the transport.
No one likes an activist. No one likes an activist, and that's what I had to not be. I had to be someone that wasn't trying to throw it in people's faces, because that's not what I wanted. I'm not saying that a lot of people do that, but some people do that, meaning that everybody thinks the whole. Whereas when you work with people like Came Sustainable Food, they're really quite a quiet group. They're not out there really making a massive noise and making people feel bad. And I saw how they were doing it, and I thought, well, this is much more like me. Like, you know, do the right thing. Don't just shout about the right thing. And
it's like, so there's a couple of things there. One is like, I really despise that whole, here I am doing something good and I'm only doing it for the marketing attention or for the marketing vibe, right? And a good example recently, we got approached for Easter eggs for some vulnerable kids in Cambridgeshire, 100 of them for hampers.
Was it the Red Hen project? Or was it
I can't remember that. It was actually a nurse from one of the hospitals, I think, got in touch. We just did it. It hasn't gone on social media. Okay, it's now on the podcast, but it was just out there because it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel. It just didn't feel right, and it was a nice thing to do. Do you know what I mean? And Mags and I woke up on Sunday morning like, yeah, happy days. You know, there's like 100 kids with a smile on their face that might not have been there previously, so that's all good, right? But so you got this issue around like doing something and appearing to be a bit of a dick because of it. But what my big issue is that I really want to start to explore sustainability. One, because it's the right thing to do, which we know it's the right thing to do. The other thing is that there's no one else really starting to explore it. But the big challenge for me is particularly, you know, a lot of my clients and stuff are transport operators. They might be farming background and that sort of thing. And as soon as you start to talk about sort of sustainability,
they do this to you.
Yeah. It's a little bit like I've put like a, you know, I don't know, like kick my ass sticker on my back or something. I don't know.
It's a nightmare because no one wants to think that they're contributing to a problem. And like, I might have said this to you before, I can't remember, but I think that it's really important to remember that none of us are sustainable. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So make a change that you're happy with and go with it. Like, I think people think you have to be either sustainable or not. And I don't think that, I think that put in the perspective of like my customers, I will make changes in the shop that will welcome the person who has never tried to buy good quality or local food or zero waste packaging food, because they might be going, this is new for me. I don't want to I want to dip my toe in, but they don't want to be they don't want to come in the shop and be bombarded with it, because that's not fair. Yeah. Because the fact of the matter is, if everyone went out tomorrow and bought all their pasta using a paper bag instead of a plastic bag, how much impact does that have alone? One single thing. So the key is being welcoming and not going, oh, you know, if you got plastic on your bag, oh, get out. You know, it's just ridiculous. I think you've got to be open to ideas. You've got to know that none of us are sustainable. And so if you come out preaching to people, you'll have people picking fault with you. God's honest truth. Everyone will go, oh, but then they'll be looking through their Facebook profile to watch them with a bloody diesel engine one day or so. I don't know, whatever. People are like that. So if you just come out and go, look, we're doing the best we can, making sustainable choices for our business, for our customers or whatever, we're not going to shout about it. We're just going to get on and do it. Like I've always said, I'm less busy shouting, I'm more busy doing. And really, at the end of the day, if you've got that as a credential, but you're not shouting about it, then you're really doing the right thing, because you're not using it as a marketing ploy. And there's a guy I read about once who, it might have been Puma, the company Puma, who was one of the first people to put a financial amount on carbon emissions or something like that. And he put it down as a financial amount in his books, like his balance sheet. So every gram of CO2 or I can't remember the full details. It's not that helpful for your listeners, but let's say, I think it was Puma, and let's say everything unsustainable to regards to emissions and things like that was put into the bottom line. And so then in the accounts and when they're looking through all their data, they're like, we've got to get rid of this because this is inefficient, you know. And it was seen as a way of getting rid of these unsustainable, less ethical choices that the companies are making, because sometimes big companies, particularly, who really are the only ones who can make a massive difference. Let's get that straight. People like us, we won't scratch the surface if Amazon don't pick up and start doing the things. Not naming Amazon, because in some senses they obviously do a lot of things, and companies like McDonald's, you can't fault their recycling and their bins. But you need to. The only way it will get noticed in a boardroom is if it's a number. Yeah. Not I've got this lovely idea, and I mean,
it needs to be something that's measured, and the performance needs to be tracked and measured like any other KPI.
But the problem is, I mean, there's big marketing things in the minute with electric vehicles, and I've got electric vehicles, and they're great, but I also know why people wouldn't want them, And someone will talk to me who has a normal job, or they'll say about the electric car, and it's easy for me because I work for myself. I can plan my routes. I can say, I've got to stop here for an hour. I've got to do this and do that. If you've got a job, you've got to be there for 9 o'clock and you've got to leave at 5 o'clock to get home. The last thing you want to do is be charging because you can't get anywhere, and you understand why people don't do it.
Yeah.
But electric cars aren't necessarily the solution for everything either. I mean, they're one of many. But I don't know. It's a tough one. And for us at the shop, it was a no-brainer because we're lucky enough to have the clientele to do it. Would I set up in the middle of Northampton doing it? No, definitely not, because they would not be interested. That's not me being horrible about people from Northampton. They just don't. The where we are in Cambridge is particularly suited to it because it's something a lot of people in our area are really, really interested in. There's quite a movement in Cambridge and things on sustainability, especially, like I said, there's a local group called Cambridge Sustainable Food, And I think that places will follow, but, you've got to realise that we're in a very lucky area and privileged to be able to go, let's do a zero waste section. And it works, no problems. Did it one day, next day we opened, we had a zero waste section and everyone was just going, oh, this is nice, we'll buy it this way instead. And there was no problem at all because...
What does zero waste mean? What does zero waste mean in your shop, mate?
Well, I'll say in our shop it would be things like less packaging. So where you would normally have bought a bottle of washing up liquid, you'd bring in your own bottle and fill it up. Or you'd normally buy a bag of rice, a Oreo rice for a risotto, but you can come in and put it in a paper bag that we supply, or you can bring your pot from home. We have means that you can weigh your jars so you don't pay. Doesn't matter how big the jar is you bring, whatever, it's tailored to your the way of things.
So it sounds to me, I know it's bad that I haven't been in the shop in so long, but I don't come to Cambridge very often.
No,
I don't come to Cambridge at all. But which makes me sound like a very bad friend. I need to make a trip to the shop soon. But it sounds a little bit.
We said this last time in the podcast. It's just people have their lives the way it is.
It reminds me a bit of the old post office. In Over, where we grew up, you had the post office in Over, and you had the jars of sweets in the back, right? And then you'd get it emptied out into a paper bag. What you're telling me is we're coming away from Haribo again, back to the jars,
cola
pips. And
back to cola pips,
cola cubes, mate, cola cubes in the bag. I know. Oh, I used to like cola cubes. I used to like strawberry bonbons as well, mate.
Yes, I loved them. And you used to get those lemon ones as well, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Dust covered, mate. Dust covered bonbons, amazing.
It is like old times, and it isn't. Like, in a lot of ways, it is, I suppose. But I mean, I suppose by zero waste, there's a lot of things. So, say like we'll sell shampoo bars, bars of soap. with like not. I didn't even
know that was a thing, right?
That's all right. I wasn't going to say.
I use bars of soap. I don't use shower gel anymore.
Yeah,
I use bars of soap. And that was actually a thing because Max and I were poor and it was cheap. Genuinely, that was like, it wasn't that we were meaning to do anything other than I got into the habit when we were really poor, and I've not changed. I've just got used to using bars of soap. And people look at me like.
No, weird. And bars. There's nothing wrong with bars of soap. Shower gel is incredibly unsustainable. I mean, you only got to read the label and it calls you a gel douche. Oh, I'm here all night. Come on, that was good. I just thought of that.
I like that. I like that, mate. So talk to me. So you can get shampoo in a bar now.
Yeah, shampoo bars. We sell one by a company called Zero Waste Path, who, as you know by the name, they're massively into it. So like even their packaging's all cardboard, recyclable, and things like that. And we sell another one called By Essential Soaps. Both again, it's a sort of this whole sort of full circle kind of thing, because you not only are they good quality, they're ethically sourced. A lot of them are vegan as well, which is a big thing for customers these days. They're also made in Cambridge, so it's sort of not one to. The only way you can describe something is by saying tick a box. As bad as it sounds, those kinds of products tick all the boxes.
It meets the criteria, Ben. What you're telling me is it meets the criteria, not that it ticks a box. Says the guy in compliance.
Ticks the box.
It meets the necessary criteria.
This is it. And the thing is, you sort of, when you're in a small independent business, you can't give anyone else an excuse not to use you. When you're small, 90% of people want to find an excuse not to come in your shop because it's easier to not. Like a lot of our customers, we're lucky because we're convenient for a lot of people, but there might be some. It's harder to come in and fill up your pasta in a plastic in a paper bag than it is pick it off a shelf, isn't it? Right? Yeah. We do sell some packaged products. I'm not saying we don't, because I a bit like I was saying earlier, like I don't want to go militant on people. I don't want my customers who have used this for years to suddenly go, oh, you don't sell that pasta I really like anymore. I'm like, oh no, because it's got plastic. God, get out. That's not what we. That
Tesco's, off you go. Yeah,
this is it. And as far as
go buy that cheap shit.
Get over there, get in the queue, and wait outside in the cold. But it's fine. But the thing is it's not fair. And this is the point I'm making: is make small changes. If everyone made small changes, that's the problem solved. That it's easy to say. But if we all did something every single day, something different, like we sell glass bottled milk, people bring the bottles back. It's just little things like that. But the flip side is it costs more. So we are lucky that our customers go, I'd rather be more sustainable and do this and pay more to do it.
Yeah.
In all fairness, a lot of our loose products, like if the decantables, if you want to call them a better word, we've priced cheaper than they would have been packaged as a gesture. In my opinion, it shouldn't cost you more to do your food shopping in that. I feel a bit guilty if some people come in, spend all this time filling up all their things and doing it really nicely and to the criteria we ask them to do it to then go, oh yeah, and it's all going to cost you a bit more as well. It just seems like something. It's not right, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my opinion on sustainability, and that's coming from someone who does do something. I think a lot of people have a big opinion on it, but no offense, probably just don't do anything about it.
Yeah,
well, we did. You know,
it's something that's become increasingly on my radar. I would say I'm quite late to the game, right? And I'll hold my hands up and just be quite frank. And a lot of people will think I'm a dick for saying it, but I don't care. And that is that it often feels like, or appears like, as a meat eating person, that vegan people are very quick to tell you they're vegan and then judge you for eating meat. Or some people that I've come across have been that way. And I'm probably going to regret saying this and get loads of hate mail and dead animal carcasses through the post or something like that,
which should be ironic.
Which would be massively ironic, yeah. But I don't know, like I watched I can't remember what the Netflix documentary was with the UFC guy who went vegan and like started to talk about, the health benefits of not eating, and that was very, very one-sided. It was very, very one-sided. And then Joe Rogan like kind of demystified some of it in his podcast, and there was a bit of stuff there. But Mags and I sat and watched Seaspiracy on Netflix the other day, and that literally blew my mind. How unsustainable all of our fish are, and the fishing that's happening is just incredible. Have you watched it?
No.
No, mate, it's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts because it isn't just the fishing. It isn't just the fishing we're doing. I mean, it's it's totally unregulated. It's totally unregulated. No one's watching them. There's so much big corporate money involved, and the practices are horrific and barbaric. The idea that some other animals might die in the making of your food, I think is pretty unacceptable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just if you're just thinking literally, it's wasteful. I mean, forget
exactly.
else. It's just an absolute waste.
Exactly, and waste's bad, right? Waste bad in whatever form that comes.
Well, one thing I would say we have a lot of vegan customers, and I wouldn't say any of them are anything like you're saying. I think that I think we only know those ones through social media. I mean, I can't put a post up about meat without someone putting a little angry face on my Facebook post or something. It happens a lot. Just does.
Really? Right. Okay.
It's becoming or a crying face or something. That happens a lot.
And this is the thing, right? And what I said before, that wasn't. I guess it probably says more about me and my guilt that I feel bad for the choices that I've made and that I feel judged, because in reality I'm probably not being judged, but it's that I feel like I'm being judged by people who make better choices with what they eat and the sustainability choices that they make, I guess.
Yeah, and that's it. And the thing is, like, it's a bit like I was saying earlier. If someone lays into you, it leaves them open to be laid into. If you live and let live, like, people can be vegans and people don't have to be vegans, and you just do what you want, and just accept that people have a choice. Because, like, you could make your own sustainable choices because you want to eat meat and you feel that it balances the books. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I eat meat, but the meat we produce on the farm. I mean, I've tried to do it in a way that makes it the best quality possible and things. And really, again, it's like I was saying earlier, really, if everybody scaled back and shopped for people like us, there would be no massive problems. If people ate more quality meat less often, there wouldn't be these problems.
Yeah.
It's because we want a McDonald's double cheeseburger at 1 a.m. and we're pissed off we have to wait 3 minutes for it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It's the mass consumerism. It's not the shopping from the local butcher. It's the shopping from Tesco's with the artificially weighed in chicken that's lived in its own pile of shit for the past however long it's taken to artificially rear to the size it needs to.
It's been shipped frozen from Vietnam or whatever, and the emissions are huge. But my point is, there's problems with everything. So you find if you're on a farming page and there's like certain pages are always clashing, and I don't like it. Like I think like it's aggressive from non-vegans as well. It's quite a lot of it going on. I just don't think the world needs it. Like, we're all doing things wrong, so does it matter? Like, I always think if I started going, what are you having to go at me for eating meat for? I think, well, it's your choice to do what you do. It's my choice to do what I do. And I just think that at the end of the day, a lot of the time, I think there's a select few who are really argumentative on both sides. And actually, most of us just carry on living our lives, try and do the best we can.
Yeah. It's kind of tricky, isn't it? Because on the one hand, I get resentful and think, why are people so confrontational and conflicted over stuff like this? Why do people always find an argument? But then on the other hand, I think realistically, and I just think, do you know what? If people weren't challenging the norm, we would just continue on the fucking car crash that's about to happen over the next however many years as we fuck everything up.
That's why there's people like us running businesses, though. Like, no offense to the general public, people who don't make or create or anything, they do a job and they go home and they need to buy their food because they haven't got time to do anything. They need to buy their food and get on with it and do their thing. It's our job as having businesses to make sure that what they're buying into is correct, safe, quality, and meets those criteria. Do you know what I mean? I think we have a responsibility, because the thing is, we've got a really unique position in what we do. We have people work for us. We have people use us as customers. We have a responsibility. And I think if everybody took their responsibility as serious as what I do, it would be much different. And I think, like, a lot of the time, if you approach the businesses and showed them not only could they be more sustainable, and they could be the marketing guy we're talking about, there's no harm in that. Yeah, we think they're a bit, but there's no harm.
It's difficult. It is difficult, though, isn't it? Because you've got to raise awareness, haven't you? You've got to raise awareness. Without raising awareness, nothing changes, does it? That's the challenge.
No. But also, you can't run a business without being that way inclined. Like, no one waits for the car crash to happen in business because they'll be out of business. So we know that's not how the world works. So we're always thinking like that. And I think, I personally think the sustainability issue is down to businesses. You look at, I don't know, all the food we buy is a good example from supermarkets. Everybody wants Cox apples and Maris Piper potatoes and Victoria plums and all these sort of fruits and vegetables or whatever, right? Not because they're the best. It's because they're the easiest to grow, easiest to get hold of, easiest to store. And the supermarkets have told everybody that's what they want. So we have a responsibility to basically tell everybody what they want, make sure it's the right thing that they want. Yeah. Put bluntly, if the only things on offer are the sustainable products, and that's all that's on offer.
Yeah.
And then the price comes down because there's no premium anymore. It's a long-term thing. But but supermarkets and things are waking up, big companies are waking up to it. And there's huge arguments for so many different things and green energies, and you could go on for hours about it, can't you? I mean,
yeah, no, 100%, mate, 100%. Okay, cool. Right, let's cut the economy and a discussion there then, and let's start talking about surviving the pandemic. So, talk to me a bit about what sort of impact it's had on you as we start to sort of come out of lockdown. Have you just been cracking on, no real impact at all, or are you expecting to see a bit of a spike? As I imagine the students, Cambridge is quite student led. Are you expecting to see much impact from that?
I think it might be quieter.
Okay.
I mean, but I always think it's very sensible to not be optimistic in business.
Yeah. Or cautiously optimistic, which seems to be my catchphrase at the moment. Is
cautiously optimistic. So the thing is, we have been very lucky to have had a very good ride in the pandemic. We've been able to stay open. We've had people who can't leave the area. We've had people who need their food delivered. And we really, to put how you said earlier, met the criteria for the kind of business that is going to do well in the pandemic. So we, not only were we able to continue trading, we did get some extra customers, and it wasn't really all doom and gloom. Obviously, we've had to invest in new systems and all the, the screen and the gel and everything you've got to do now. But in all fairness, it's not really dipped too much. I mean, the Eat Out to Help Out, I think, had a bit of an effect on us. But I mean, you've got to remember that we're selling a premium product, and a lot of what we sell could be classed as more affluent, and by very default, more affluent people have enough to disappear on holiday or more regularly. And the second the restrictions are lifted, I will be very surprised if not only people go away, but a lot of people have family like abroad or you name it. There's loads of people I know who are customers who will just go, and it's amazing how that little bit is enough to make it quite quiet. 10%. In August, I think we were 30% quieter. It really dropped, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. We not in a know-it-all fashion. I sort of expected it. Like, I still expect it to happen again this year. And it's always happened anyway before the pandemic. So we've always had quiet Augusts and things anyway, because to do mainly with, like you're saying, with the students, as well as a lot of our customers have families and it's the only time it can go away. So we have a big chunk of time where we lose a bit of trade. But
okay.
I mean, but you know, I'm combating that by trying to open a holiday let on the farm. So you know, it's about entrepreneurial. That's my I'm always like trying to improve things, and I'm like, well,
you're talking about this pod for a little while. Talk to me about this pod then. What is that? The holiday let? Is it a pod that we discussed previously?
Well, it's a bit posher than a pod. If you imagine Bilbo Baggins' house in The Hobbit, yeah, nothing like that. Yeah, it's basically that. It's a bit cool. It's quite cool, but I'm waiting on planning, so I don't know if I've got it yet, but we'll see. The idea is solid. You know, get something on the farm that you can let out to people come and enjoy the farm in the summer, well, all year round. But I was assuming August would be our peak, so I wanted to have money coming in at a time we don't normally have it coming in.
Nice,
that was the basis of it, really. No, I mean, you know, there's no point dressing that up. At the end of the day, you know, August the bank goes dry, and it's a horrible time. You know, you have the same costs, and you have, you know, no matter what you do, you're still having to buy everything and pay your rent and everything.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think August is going to be a real golden time for the events business, for anyone that does accommodation or anything like that. I think there's going to be the economical impact is going to be great. So if you could be up and running in the next couple of months, mate, you'll be away, right?
I mean, yeah.
How soon till you can launch? Do you think you're going to be able to hit it?
No, I think we're going to miss it, despite all my efforts. We've been doing it properly.
Yeah,
we've had an architect. We've done pre-applications. We've done everything, and you know, so as much as it would pain me to not have it ready this year, if we got the planning, I know we'd be doing it right, and it would be an investment for a long time. So it's easy to be annoyed at the immediacy of not getting it up and running, but we're going to have it for years. It'd be something our children can let out, you know.
I know that it'll be gripping your shit a little bit that you won't be able to get it up and running by this August.
Yeah,
I'd be the same.
Yeah, you know, I could easily go down the offices and start flushing heads, but you know, but it's not going to help, is it? But in all fairness, everything's been good, and the council have been really positive. And at the minute, without an answer, it's never been anything but appeared to be okay. So we'll see, and we've done everything right. Like I said, I had a really nice architect, and we've got a whole brochure that we've sent to the council for planning. Awesome. And I want to do it right. I wanted it to be really, really smart. And and again, I don't like any comebacks. You see, as much as I could cut a corner as much as the rest of us if I have to. But when it comes to real things that are really important, I'm absolutely the other way. I'm obsessively mental about it until it's right. Which people who think they know me probably realise something about me, but I'm very deep thinking, and I'll have an idea and I will think about it and think about it and think about it. And but I think that's partly why we do what we do, because I don't think you couldn't be gung-ho 24/7. You'd be out of business very quickly. You've got to have something ticking in there, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Okay, cool. And the final thing that I wanted to have a bit of a catch up with you about was comedy. What's the crack? Have you got anything lined up?
Nothing. I haven't done anything since about October. They're starting to bookings are starting to creep back in, but they're all if we're allowed to opens.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, it's really hard. Like, I don't know each way to describe it. There's certain ones you can apply for, but if you apply for them and you get them, you need to apply for ones before them to be up to scratch, to practice, and they don't exist. They're not really. A lot of them aren't restarting. Or are you going to get an audience? What's the point of doing these if you don't have an audience to test stuff out on? Or at the minute, I feel a bit torn as to what to do, because comedy for me is something that if you said wave the magic wand, you have to do something now. What's your job going to be? I would be very tempted to go comedy, please. I absolutely love doing it, and I've done it not in an airy fairy way. I've done a hard graft at spell to know if I like it or not. Loads of comedians out there have done, a lot more than I have. But I suppose what I mean is I haven't done it occasionally. I had a spell last year before the pandemic, say like the 6 months before the pandemic. I was gigging 3, 4, 5 nights a week, all around my job, all around the farm. And
not on the farm. Just to be clear, not on the farm, not all around the farm.
Yeah. I talked to all the animals.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who laugh.
Absolute hit with the fucking sheep, mate.
Yeah. They said I wasn't too bad.
Amusing.
Yeah, you couldn't put the wool over their eyes. But
what you mean is you were doing it up and down the country?
Everywhere. There's not nearly every place, but places you wouldn't believe I've been already. And like I had a moment where I was like, right, well, it's just getting somewhere. I started to get occasionally offers for payment and big opportunities. And I said, well, I've got to make it a job, even though I wasn't really earning. So it's a bit like an apprenticeship, So I was like, I wasn't really getting paid. Seldom. I mean, I wasn't very, very rarely getting paid, especially 2019. And so I was pushing and just doing all the best I could to get in places and make friends and most importantly, get as good as I could, because networking is half the battle, but really, if you're not funny, you've got no chance. And so it's all about trying stuff out. And so, I there's not a day that goes by I don't think about a gig or a joke and just getting up in front of an audience and doing it. But until it really, I personally feel I've got so much going on. I've started loads more during the pandemic as well. I've done more and more business branches and because I've been able to, and it's just what I do. I like doing it. That I need to know it's back to put my foot in and get on with it. At the minute, but I'm not quite sure is it back properly, or a lot of performers have been properly out of work. So we're talking performers at the top of the ladder who I'm way down on that ladder. I'm never going to get a look in because they're taking lower rung gigs. The stuff I might have been going for is getting taken up by someone 10 times better than me now. That's basically how it's going to roll for a while because they need the income. So someone who's a promoter is going to go, wow, I can get them for the same price as Ben. It's a no-brainer. Sorry, Ben, but they're going to sell tickets for me, and I get that. Yeah. So I'm like, well, until it's back, no social distancing, no masks, properly back, I might have a go at, if I get the right offers, and I will still apply for some that I like the look of, that I think I can do, people I know maybe, and I'm, I sort of, especially things like MCing, I could sort of do that, really without any practice, because it's not quite the same as doing a set. Going in cold on a set's different to going in cold as an MC-ish. You still have bad nights as an MC, which I have, but it's more natural. It's more natural just to turn up, and if you're not feeling it or you feel nervous, you can just do your job and introduce the acts and be polite and tell them how the night's going to go, and you're hosting the night. You don't have to come out all guns blazing and do jokes. If you're on top of the world, you can do that as an MC if you want. But there's been days where I've been really like, oh God, I don't know. This seems a tough room. There's not much of a crowd. And I've been out there and just sort of done the motions. You can do that as an MC. You can't. Comedy stand-up doesn't necessarily wait for you, that give you that leeway. But it's what I want to do. I've absolutely loved every time Not everyone, but
I can sense in your tone and the way you're talking about some that you've had some horrifiers.
Oh, I've had some. There's been a few.
Talk to me. What's been? Talk to me. Stand out. Worst night. Worst night of the office doing stand up.
There's quite a few. A lot of it, if I'm honest, a lot of it's me personally.
What, in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I've never.
Or not that they think you're a twat.
No, in all fairness, I'm usually quite polite and happy, and I don't get a lot of negativity from people. So I'm very lucky with that. Quite often, people will comment that I'm likable and things, and I'm happy, and I'm not. I don't say anything really edgy. I'm not really brave with stuff. I sort of do stuff about my life or whatever, and that's fine. But if I feel like I've died a little bit somewhere, or I didn't hit the nail on the head, it will stay with me, and I can't shake it off. Like I had a night I went to London and I did an open mic night, and I got there and I was like, oh my God, I was supposed to be hosting this all night. And it was not a comedy club. It was like a bar, and half of it was full of people drunk, like, cocktail night or something. It was just a disaster. And my problem is I knew it was going to be a disaster before I even got on stage. And that was in me then. I couldn't shake it. Like, if you go to a comedy night, a comedy gig or something, and you're on, I don't know, quite often as a newer act, you get on as an open spot like I would be getting, because I'm a newer act. You'll go on, say, after the opener or something, right? Or a second. Well, I suppose what I mean is the audience are greased up, ready to laugh.
They've already been lubricated with a little bit of laughter.
They've been lubed up, right? But also, when you hear another comic come out, and the audience are just on board and enjoying what they're saying. I mean, it's obviously there's sometimes you get the occasional one where the comedian's brilliant, and you go, "Oh, how am I going to follow that?" That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about, this audience are up for it. When you know that, you can go out and you'll be going bang, bang, bang. You know nearly everything. They're laughing before you open your mouth, is what I always say to Vicky when I get home. So she says, how was it? I go, they were laughing before I even opened my mouth. That's just how you can tell. And that's the paying audiences are usually easier than the non-paying, because they've come out for a night out.
They've come for a good time.
They've invested in the night. Yeah. And so ironically, it's harder getting up the ladder. But once you get to certain gigs, you have more of a chance, because once you've got your foot in the door, there's people out there who are loads funnier than me. And I'm still I was managing to get these gigs and things. And just through just trying my best to do better and pick out funny things. One thing I found is I'd think a lot about a joke for a long, long time. And in my head, it was completely original until I found out someone else had done it in their own spin. But it looks like you're just hack or copying, even though to you it was completely original. That's a massive problem for me. Yeah. So you make observations about things. You could be you could be saying what someone said when they opened up the night. You don't know. Sometimes as a comedian, you can get there late. If you're like on in the second half, or sometimes you can get there. Like, for example, so I've opened gigs before and gone on to another one or gone home, and the person later on wouldn't have seen my jokes, and they fall in that possible same trap. So what I've actually tended to start doing is, within reason, only stuff about personal things, because I know it can't be written.
Yeah. If it's happened to you, it's only happened to the people around you, right? Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to. That's the way around it. That's been the challenge. It's easy to think of jokes, really, but you might not be original.
Yeah.
So actually, I mean, and that's half the problem is I have these things happen, but I also make notes on my phone of jokes and things, and try my best to start thinking about them. But you fall in the trap of becoming an observational comedian, which is nothing wrong with. But for me, I don't know if it's my strongest suit. I don't know. I sort of think that I want to be myself. I want to be able to just come out and go like I've just got out of the car. All right. Mm-hmm. And like if I come to your house, I just straight away, you know what I'm like? I'll just be like bang, bang, bang. But I like it with an audience, you see. Well, this is why I haven't done any Zoom gigs, because so much of what I do happens on the night. I don't necessarily make stuff up, but I like to chat. I like to see people's faces, or you might pick someone out that pulls a funny face and it gives you a chance to get into some material. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the energy. It's the energy. Comedy's about energy, isn't it? And it's about you provide the energy for an audience
and you can dictate the energy.
Get them engaged. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the better the comedian, the better control they have over the audience, right? But I guess the challenge, like you're saying, is that when Jimmy Carr goes and does a £40 a night, £50 a night gig, that people have paid tickets for £40-50 a ticket, and they've invested in going and making the journey and finishing work early and all that shit. He's turning up to an audience that are ready to roll, right?
Of course he is.
Don't get me wrong, he's an amazing comedian. I'm not knocking him one bit, but I'm sure he's had to do the hard yards. I'm sure he's had to do the hard yards.
And I know he has. You know. But also within that, not only are they ready to laugh, they know him so well. He can say the most outrageous stuff. And like I could do stuff that I don't know. I don't really have any examples, but I sort of have to be a bit more broad spectrumed than perhaps I would like to be. There's loads of things, like there's films I love that I could do whole sets about, but no one knows them. But if you had your own audience who's known you for 10 years off the telly, you go, right, I'm going to talk about my favourite film with you, and they'll be like, oh, this is brilliant. Whereas I've got to be, no one knows me. My name's Ben. Here's some funny stories. And that's literally all I've got at the moment.
And I guess that's the challenge, because the more well-known comedians can carve out their own reputation and their own personality. And like you say, they can say outrageous stuff because people have already got they're already emotionally invested in that person, aren't they? They've already got that relationship with them.
Yeah.
So I know if I go and watch Jimmy Carr, he's going to be far edgier than going and watching Ramesh Ranganathan, for example. Both great in their own way.
Yeah.
You're just going to get a different style.
Exactly. Right? And that's the thing. I mean, I've still tried to write jokes or think of things, but not as much as I was. I sort of haven't. There's not much point. Like I quite often have an idea and go, "I'll try that out tonight." There's nowhere to try it out now. Do you know what I mean?
And I get it. You know, the challenge is you're a busy guy. Your time's valuable. Why commit your time to something that isn't tangible at the minute? Which it isn't.
Yeah.
Comedy isn't
I like
tangible.
To control.
You got to focus. Yeah, you got to focus where your energy's going. Awesome, mate.
And
awesome.
That's it. Simple as.
Yeah. No, fair play, mate. Right, I'm gonna tie it up there, mate. So for people who have just tuned in, just drop who you are again, where to find you, where they can come and spend some money with you, mate, and check out the shop and that sort of thing.
Well, thanks for dropping in at the end. You've missed a great chat. I don't know where you've been, but I'm Ben Aveling and I'm the owner of Radmore Farm Shop. Check us out online, radmorefarmshop.co.uk. If you're a Cambridge resident, we're open 7 days a week and we have a delivery service. And if you live in the Northants area, we hopefully have some accommodation soon, fingers crossed, as well as we're doing more different breeding schemes on the farm and animals and things. And always, mate,
they don't have to live in Northampton. They just need to live on planet Earth. They might be jetting in from LA to come and stay in Northamptonshire farm.
No, this is it, mate. This is it, isn't it? But not Mike Tyson though. He can.
I'll tell you what, mate. If Mike Tyson's watching this, I'm getting the ads going.
Half a dozen things. But the best thing you can do is follow Radmore Farm Shop on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, because I put everything on there anyway.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed it. Catch you soon.
I really hope you loved today's episode, and if you did, please make sure you subscribe and listen out for future episodes too. Please do share it across your social media channels. We hope to reach more and help more people. If you want to find out more about me, my name's Pete Rushmer. You'll find me across any social media channel and my business Flagship Partners, and we're your partners in success across your business. Thank you. See you again soon.
It's very raw, you see. We didn't know what to do. So I've been thinking about this as a joke for ages. But we went to hospital, right? And Vicky gets in the pool. And this is really hard to get down as a joke. But she started getting in the pool and all this, right? She starts pushing. And when I get up in the middle of the night, or funny times, I get a real bad stomach, right? It really gives me the squits. I don't know why. I get really dodgy because body clock's thrown out, right? So, and I sat there watching her like this, all tucked up going, and then she's like, seemed quite comfortable. So I thought, I'll just pop to the loo before everything gets going so I can be here for the main event, right? So I thought, I'm going to do a bit of birthing of my own, right? So I went in the toilet, and then I nearly missed the birth of Emma, right? Because I was in the toilet. And what was more is I thought it was really funny that I was timing the splashes with her screams, and no one heard the splashes, right? Now, there's a whole package there for a joke, and I can't get it. It's so niche. But basically, I nearly missed my daughter being born because I was giving birth to the most monster, bad stomached, awful. And then what was more is, I was timing the splashes to the screams. That's what cracked me up the most. And Vicky was furious. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just get these notes and these ideas occasionally. And I just don't know how to, this is the thing. You need to go to an open mic night and go, look, this happened to me. But then when you've got people in front of you, sometimes things just come to you.
Yeah.
And usually I record them, and yeah. I just think like there's so much going on. But yeah, so that's an idea I had for a joke. I just don't know how to get it.
How to land it.